Hey all, welcome. We got two episodes left. Well, one actually, because we're going to talk about the next to the last one. The butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker.
Yeah,
We know who the butcher is. We know the butcher. We know because it's his name. But that could be taken in many ways, the name Butcher, because it's his actual character name. And then there's just all kinds of butchering that happens.
Yes. And I think we're about to get a whole lot more. Yeah, we're about to get a lot more of Butcher, as we found out at the end of this episode that Butcher's attempt to do everything the legal way and the right way not working out. So
which he wasn't totally legal anyway, but I mean there's a next level step.
But yeah, he's
trying to be a next level, like which we'll get to. Yeah. He's it's no holds barred. There's no rules. There was at least some semblance of morality in him, but that is
he was trying to follow the colonel's lead and the congresswoman's lead, and let's take him down the legal way. But
somewhat legal. Yes,
that didn't work out so well.
So let's start the episode, which is kind of a statement on today's world and news as we know it. There's no question that's what it's about. The guy is you described the scene, and
we basically see some guy we've never seen before. His clock radio goes off, and he's listening to some kind of political shock jock stuff, talking about the supervillains and the super terrorists in the world. And so we see kind of a repetitive day in, day out thing where he's constantly on the internet reading memes and all kinds of political sites.
It's Groundhog Day, basically, but with bad news, which is what many people are doing right now.
Yes. So he part of his routine every day is he goes into a little store every day, pays $1.45 for, I guess, coffee, or we don't know. But finally one day there's the cashier standing there, says $1.45, and somehow some light flashes across his eyes, maybe some headlights or something. And that's when this guy gets the idea that he's a super terrorist. And walks in one day and asks him if he's bulletproof and shoots him.
And he's not bulletproof.
He's not bulletproof. He's not a super terrorist. Yeah. He's just an ordinary cashier at a little shop.
But a definite shot at the news and the people who get sucked into the news and how he can make it go off the deep end.
And a call back to, how we looked at people from other countries. Certain people did. But from there, we would run to the safe house where Lamplighter's there with Butcher and Colonel Mallory and the Congresswoman, and they're trying to talk to him and figure out how we can get him to testify before Congress about Compound V and what was going on at the psychiatric hospital. So everybody, the Butcher and the Congresswoman are kind of going back and forth. He's calling her names, and they're having a little thing. He says it's a term of endearment in his country, the C word, but
and it is. I would like to talk to a British person and see if they say it as often.
I think it's not. They do say it more over there, and it's not as offensive to them as it is to us. But it's still not a good word. But anyway, they're talking about what their plan of action is going to be, and so Colonel Mallory and Mother's Milk are going to visit the doctor, what's his name?
Bought something or other.
Vogelbaum, Dr. Vogelbaum, who was the main scientist who raised Homelander and worked with Vought to come up with Compound V. So they're going to visit there, and meanwhile, Billy gets a phone call, which he ignores at first, but then he knows who it is. He picks it up, and it's his mom, who says that his father has died, and he needs to come see her immediately. From there, we have a little scene with Starlight and her mom. They meet at a coffee shop, and this is actually a little Easter egg scene from Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire version. If you don't remember that
the unicorn frap, is that?
Well, they're where he's sitting in the cafe with Mary Jane Watson. And a bad guy comes crashing through the front window of the coffee shop. much like Black Noir does in this
Okay. All
particular
right.
scene. So it's
And
framed.
I was wondering. We've been wondering all along. I mean, the mom called Vought.
Yes.
But the whole thing about how they don't know where she is anyway is a problem I
Yes.
have with the show.
It's becoming increasingly upsetting and hard to.
They just take a chip out and they go wherever they want. They wouldn't have it set up that way.
Yeah, it's coming hard to suspend disbelief on this particular issue. But
the unicorn frop, I think, is just a point to show that the mom still thinks as the
as her
a
little girl, as a little girl, she's and Starlight's obviously still upset with her mom because she found out that her mom submitted her to the Compound V when she was little. And so Black Noir breaks in, takes Starlight, captures her and the mom, and takes them back to the tower.
They mentioned that Starlight's dad is dead.
Yes,
he died, and because that's a theme that runs throughout the entire episode and through the shows. This is all about how parents screwed up their kids, kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
There's just horror around almost every one of these characters. Including even Huey. There's just not horror, but there's problems with every father figure.
Yes,
not every, but a lot of the father figures in this show, and not by their fault. In her case, died. The mom used her as a sign for religion, whatever. But it's constant references to the dad. Lamplighter does it later, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, Dr. Vogelbaum, the Homelander's adopted father type situation. But from there, we go back to the safe house. Colonel Mallory tells Frenchie and Kamiko to follow the Congresswoman because they think that she could be in danger because of the subcommittee hearing and all of that. And Butcher assigns Huey to babysit Lamplighter, who is watching some very interesting films.
Watch some crazy porn.
Some very, very crazy
it's
stuff.
Superhuman or superhero takeoff porn.
Yes, and it leads to a very funny line about Huey being the fluffer for Lamplighter.
Well, they also talk about Huey has a line about how watching porn in the daytime is just like the lowest.
It's just wrong.
Like, terrible.
It's wrong when it's not at night. So
and they refer to cuck.
Yes,
which that's a humiliated, powerless guy who is being cheated on.
Yeah,
his wife is cheating with somebody. That's a reference.
Yeah, and Huey is the cuck fluffer.
So Huey, you're even worse than the cuck.
Yes. So Huey and Lamplighter are going back, and Lamplighter's he's reflecting back on his life, how he was a prodigy and how his powers emerged when he was 4 and he burned down his house and how he had everything going for him. And Huey's saying, I don't have anything going for me. And
talks about his dad being a bum or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, just never leaving the couch.
Yeah.
With the dad thing there again.
So we move on to Homelander and Stormfront. They are at a rally of sorts with all their fans and people who are excited
politically on their side.
Politically on their side. And so they're talking about the shooting that happened at the convenience store and how unfortunate that was. But they're still getting people all ramped up. We're one nation under God. We need more superheroes, basically.
Right. We need more Compound V.
Yeah, more Compound V, more soups, and this, of course, is playing into the whole their whole plan. They also announced Starlight is now kidnapped, or not kidnapped, but they say that she turned against the Seven. She was a mole, and they have her
killed
in custody.
Translucent. They say.
Yes.
But we know that she didn't.
And by this time, Huey has gotten Lamplighter to change the channel, and he's watching the news, and he sees that Starlight has been abducted, and this is where he convinces Lamplighter not to sit on the sidelines, to be a hero. Let's go save Starlight at the tower.
Right. And somehow his handprint still works, but whatever.
Yeah.
To open doors.
The next scene, Billy goes to visit his mom, and his dad. They have a very interesting scene out on the balcony where
because the dad's not dead, which he thought he was.
Dad's not dead, and we also find out the fate of Billy's younger brother Lenny and what happened to him, which I wasn't expecting. We sort of had the theory that Lenny maybe had been a soup or something.
Yeah.
But it turns out Lenny was just suicidal because he had an abusive father, and Billy ran away to join the SAS. And
so Lenny killed himself.
Yeah.
And Butcher's dad had two kids. One turned out killed himself. One became this anger ball, and the dad is like giving himself all the credit. Look what I made you.
I made you strong and tough and all of that.
Won't quit and all this stuff. Yeah. When I was abusing you.
And he brings up Lenny and how weak he was. Billy chokes his dad. His mom comes out and stops him. And then Billy gets up and leaves quickly because he's just incensed. So from there, we are back at the rally with Homelander and Stormfront. And she sees a baby in the crowd. And she's reminded of Adele, her 80-year-old daughter, who recently passed away. So Homelander's like, okay, you're into kids. Let me show you mine. So he and Stormfront go to visit Becca and Ryan in their fake home. And this is another very funny moment to me was Ryan. We learn about Ryan, his son, and one of his habits, or not habits, but hobbies, is making Lego stop motion movies of Terms of Endearment and The Blind Side and Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very funny. Just the thought of a Lego movie of Terms of Endearment just seems pretty funny to me.
And Blind Side, it's the dad's not around.
The guy.
Yep.
Which is the running theme, as we said, through this episode. So basically, Stormfront's moving in, Homelander's moving in. They are like, we're taking Ryan. They reveal to Ryan the truth that they are living in a fake house in a fake neighborhood. They fly him up into the sky. He sees the whole thing. And from there, they're like, we're going to take Ryan with us. Yeah. So from that, we move on to the next scene where Maeve comes back to her apartment. Her partner, she just can't take it anymore. She's having nightmares about what Maeve did on the airplane, all the people she's killed. Maeve loses it, flips the table over, and she's like, well, you wanted to know who the real person, the real me.
Right.
And her partner's like, the real you's very scary. It's terrifying.
Yes.
You are a killer, and you just flipped a table over in front of me. So I'm going to stay with my mom. So Mother's Milk and Colonel Mallory show up at Dr. Vogelbaum's house in an attempt to get him to testify in front of Congress. We find out that Colonel Mallory has done some deals for Dr. Vogelbaum to get him off some manslaughter charges. Basically, Dr. Vogelbaum says, I'm not going to testify because it's dangerous, and there are some things more important than doing the right thing. And he looks over at his daughter, and basically he's worried for the safety of her. So he's
he doesn't have bodyguards.
Right. He lives in this. He lives in this, gated house with security and all that, but there's no bodyguards or anything.
But no physical security, no guys or anything around.
Right. So Colonel Mallory and Mother's Milk, they kind of fail at their task. They're walking out to the car, and Colonel Mallory's like, he's right. You should go back to your family, Mother's Milk, and be with them. And she's like, at the end of the day, all we have is family. And you're typical. And he's like, no, I'm not going back because my family won't be safe. And he's just being the typical black ops guy.
And he's also, talks about revenge for his dad.
Yes.
Another dad thing playing. His dad died when he was younger. And we know that Vought had something to do with it.
Yeah, he's still definitely on board with taking down Vought.
Yeah.
So we jump to the bar where Billy Butcher is drinking whiskey and a pint of bitter. He gets a phone call from Mother's Milk, who tells him we failed at our task. We couldn't convince Vogelbaum to testify. So
Butcher's like, screw that.
Butcher's like, yeah, I'm not taking no for an answer. So he's on his way to visit Vogelbaum. And we jump to a rooftop scene with Frenchie and Kimiko, who are watching the Congresswoman, making sure she's safe. And they have a little moment where, Frenchie thought that Kimiko hated him because he came down so hard on her for being a mercenary for hire. But they kind of have a breakthrough moment, which is kind of dumb. She picked up the gun, and then he's like,
I say gun. I don't know.
And he's like, gun? You mean gun? Yeah. Yes, gun. Obviously, you dummy.
I don't know. I didn't really. There was some wasted time in this episode. I will have to say. There were some scenes that were just a little too long or whatever. Like I don't even need we needed Mother's Milk and the Colonel to go over and fail. Like just said, Butcher, just go over and threaten.
Right. Just there was some fat they could have trimmed out of this episode, and that was one of the scenes, the Kimiko and Frenchie scene. We didn't need that. They could have had just a quick moment later in the episode. But from there, we are at the founder of the church, Alistair's birthday party with the Deep and his new wife and A-Train. And A-Train brings the Deep a little gift, a goldfish, which the Deep is like, oh, he already knows my name.
And of course they're serving Fresca at the event.
Yes. Alistair shows up and he's talking to A-Train and the Deep, and he's like, I've had some good conversations with Stan, Gus from Breaking Bad over at Vought. And he's like, it's looking good. They're going to need you guys to come back and join the 7. So they're all excited. And there's also a conversation briefly about Eagle the Archer.
He's out.
Yeah.
He must have left. He left Scientology, and they're like, "Don't even talk to this guy. Disown him." So whatever. It's not really Scientology, but that's
it's a kind of a satire on it. But the Deep's like, "Oh yeah, he's my best friend. He's a great guy. He got me into this." And he's like, "Well, Alistair's like, no, he's terrible. He's out. Don't ever speak to him." And the Deep's like, "Oh yeah, okay, whatever you say, Alistair." Yeah. So
still not sure what the point of the whole storyline there is, but just to be funny, I guess, or something, because it doesn't really add to the overall thing at this point.
From the party, we go to the tower where Huey and Lamplighter are breaking into the tower with, again, silly, like there's just like this random grate that they can sneak into that leads to a staircase where Lamplighter's hand still works for security, which I find just
like impossible.
Just impossible.
And not to mention, they don't know where. I mean, they've lost track of Lamplighter. How would they even do that? Okay, but
there's no
he just
security
walks right
cameras,
in, no big deal.
Walks right in.
The secret way he goes in, where they used to hustle women, and he says, but there's not a single guard to be seen or anything.
Yes, he even says, this could either be work or there's going to be guards all over us, and of course it works, which. Maybe, again, as we've said over and over, maybe this is part of a bigger plot that they wanted this to happen. So we'll see. But
we'll see.
We go back to Maeve's apartment where the marketing lady walks in and sees her laying there with a man in bed. And she gets all upset, saying, "This is not lesbian. This is not on brand."
You're our second favorite lesbian couple.
Yeah.
She says.
Which I guess Ellen and Portia Rossi.
When they did that, I guess. I don't know. It was definitely funny that they said number 2.
Yeah, I couldn't. That was the only couple I could come up with. But anyway, Maeve's like, could you just be human for once? My partner left me. She's not coming back. We're not going to be able to fix this. So would you just cut me some slack here, lady? Please.
Yeah.
So the marketing lady does. She's has this moment of, oh, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
right.
whatever. So we're back at the house. This is where Ryan's showing Stormfront and Homelander his stop motion Lego movies, and they're telling him about all the movies that Homelander's been in. He's got a roller coaster named after him. All this stuff that he's been sheltered from, and Becca's desperately trying to convince Homelander to keep him sheltered. This is what he needs. He belongs with his mother. Please, please, please don't take him. So we go back.
That's not going to go well.
Yeah. I
That
don't
was
know why
dragged on
she
too
thinks
long.
she can, stand up
talk
to
him out of it. He's a
Homelander.
psychopath.
Yes, who could kill you instantly.
Yeah.
But from there, we go back to Dr. Vogelbaum's mansion where Billy the Butcher shows up, and he's basically there to threaten Dr. Vogelbaum.
He gets to the whole point. I'm going to kill your family.
Yeah.
If you don't testify.
That's pretty much it. And so Dr. Vogelbaum is like, oh, okay, yeah, don't kill my daughter.
Never thought about that before.
Yeah. So let's see, where do we go from there?
We go to this is where then we go back in where Lamplighter lights himself on fire.
Yes, I believe we go. Yes, this is where we're back in the tower, and Lamplighter sees the statues of the seven, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, they took my statue down." And then he cryptically says, "I was hoping to do this in front of my statue.
Right.
I only wanted to make my dad proud."
Yeah. Yep. So it's another dad thing.
To which he lights his lighter and sets himself on fire, and we get yet another scene of Huey looking absolutely horrified.
Yes, but no blood on his face this time.
No blood on his face, but he's got that whole face.
Yeah, that's his classic look. Like, geez. Yeah. But yet he's kind of more of a machine now. He just takes it because he goes down and gets his arm, gets Lamplighter's hand.
He's and if you've noticed, and this is just a little side theory I have about Huey's T-shirts that he wears.
I was trying to check that out.
Yeah, he's wearing a Journey T-shirt in this particular episode, which I think I could be reaching here, but I think it represents the journey he's been going on from being this helpless cuck to now taking matters into his own hands without Butcher, without Eminem, without Frenchie, without Kamiko, and he is now making the rescue attempt.
And his journey says, "Don't stop believing."
Right, don't stop believing. So So
how Lamplighter's hand works after being burned up, still another question. But I guess that's another thing.
Luckily, the he didn't burn all the way up. The sprinklers came on, but the building evacuation light comes on inside of Starlight's cell, which
gives her energy,
enough energy for her to be able to break out. So she's run. We see Huey cut off the hand of Lamplighter so he can go and get access. But then Starlight runs into the conference room where Black Noir proceeds to attack her.
Scene.
Yeah, good fight scene. Except my only issue with it is she never actually uses her powers against Black Noir. She's trying like karate.
She's just getting thrown around.
She's getting thrown around. She tries a couple of kicks and some punches, but it's like, where's your powers? You're completely surrounded by monitors and electricity.
Oh, that's true. Yes,
and you never want. I don't know if maybe it was
takes a lot of refuel.
Yeah, refuel, or maybe they didn't have the effects budget for her to
He's
do
too
her.
strong.
Yeah, I don't know.
She was taking that pain, so she wasn't breaking bones. So she was that part of her superhero-ness was working.
Yeah, she was doing.
She couldn't do anything.
Yeah, she just never used her Starlight powers, which
like her eyes never lit up or anything.
Yeah. So Black Noir's got her down on the ground. He's choking her. Scene cuts to black. She wakes back up, and Maeve is there with Black Noir in a headlock and shoves an Almond Joy down his throat, which was a nice callback to episode 4, where Black Noir's working with the computer lady who's eating an Almond Joy, and he makes her throw it away before they look for Butcher.
Right. And it's mentioned as the worst candy that there is.
Yes,
and only psychopaths.
It was Starlight's favorite.
Starlight's favorite.
Yeah, so they're very obsessed with Almond Joy.
Like John Wayne Gacy ate it, they say, or something.
Yeah.
So she shoves it in her mouth.
Yeah. Takes away his EpiPen.
Yep. And he has an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
That's his weakness. They all have a weakness.
They all have a weakness. We don't know if Black Noir's dead or not. I'm assuming he eventually. I don't think he's dead. But
you don't think so? In the after program, I saw I think it was after, or I read somewhere maybe. I think I read that the actor who plays him actually is allergic to nuts, and that's where the writers got the idea. Let's have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a real thing.
So well, they said, wouldn't that be funny? Okay, I like that. I like that. So Huey's running around in the bowels of the tower. He finds Starlight's mom, uses Lamplighter's severed hand to free her. Starlight comes running around the corner, and she's all goo-goo-eyed because she couldn't believe that Huey came to her rescue.
Yes.
So we're back at the house. This is the scene where Stormfront and Homelander take Ryan, and quick scene. They fly up. They're gone.
Yeah.
Then we're back.
That whole thing could have been a lot quicker.
It could have.
For my good.
A lot of filler in this episode. But we're back at the safe house. Colonel Mallory's talking to Butcher on the phone and says that Huey let our star witness get burned up. And basically Butcher's like, don't worry, I got it sorted. We got this figured out. He goes to meet his mom inside a coffee place again, and she apologizes for everything. They, this scene again could have been a quick phone call. They didn't.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah, didn't need it.
Yeah, he hugs his mom, leaves. Then we cut back to the Deep and A-Train sitting at a bar watching TV, and Eagle the Archer
kind of funny.
is on there. Basically, he was excommunicated, and they wanted to sever ties with his mother. He said no. So the church released footage of him and his partner who likes to dress up like a deer while Eagle the Archer hunts and mounts him.
Yes.
Which was, I thought, very funny.
And the pictures they had were ridiculous. Like the pictures in the corner of the news story. It was very, could have been easily a setup as, Scientology's been rumored to do, take down people and spread gossip about them or whatever. But it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was
comedy.
It was silly. But this sets up the final scene where Homelander and the Starfront are in front of Congress, the subcommittee who's investigating Vought and Compound V. He's looking for Maeve. Tells the marketing lady go find her. And so here we start the whole trial. The boys, everybody, Colonel Mallory, they're watching it on TV. The chair calls for Dr. Vogelbaum to come, and that's when it hits the fan. He kind of he wheels in. He's about to give his testimony, and the first congressman who asks the questions, head just explodes.
Head after head explodes.
Now, when I initially saw this scene, I swore that I heard gunshots. I thought that I heard, yes, I thought at first I was hearing gunshots, but then it clicked in that this was Cindy from the last episode.
Yep, the one that was hitchhiking down the road.
Yes. Which
she was the head popper. That was her thing.
Yeah, she had telekinetic powers that could explode people's heads. And it reminded me of a line that she had in the last episode where she said, "I hate liars." Which you have a room full of Congress people, politicians, and media, and so
good point. Yeah.
And they're
just
all
pop,
getting
pop.
Heads are exploding, and so the boys are sitting back at their safe house, and they're like, "Okay, what do we do now?" And they cut to a scene of Billy the Butcher looking ominous straight into the camera, and we cut to credits.
Yeah, and Homelander and Stormfront, and they were just standing there and
not doing anything
as the heads were popping up. They weren't doing any superpower things because they didn't even know where it was coming from, I guess.
Because we don't know if it was part of their plan. If maybe
they're in on it.
Yeah, maybe they were in on it. Maybe they intercepted Cindy, or maybe Cindy's acting on her own. But
because they would have known about her from the hospital, because that was what's her face's hospital.
Yeah, because Stormfront was there. She was kind of overseeing the whole psychiatric hospital thing. So maybe she included Cindy with her plan, or maybe Cindy's just acting on her own.
Rogue. We do not know. So one episode left.
Yes, this sets up a big, bloody, messy fight because Billy the Butcher now is sick of trying to go through the regular channels of using laws in Congress to stop.
He's going to kill families or whatever it takes.
Yes, he is. He's like he's basically going over the edge now. He realizes who he is because his father made him that way, and he's ready for a fight.
And Homelander, his father made him that way.
Yes.
And Butcher's dad made him that way. And it's
Mother's
like a whole father thing
way.
Going on.
Yep. A lot of daddy issues in this show.
Issues going on. I don't know how they wrap in the next. There's a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of things to tie up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of, but this episode didn't let down. The penultimate episodes of seasons, generally in action shows, are the one where most of the action happens, like back in Game of Thrones and stuff like that. Yeah. So this was a great episode. Now they've got a lot of loose ends to either tie up or to string us along to next season.
Yeah, that is true. They could string us on, but there's got to be some movement in the storyline at this point of how this is going to play out. All right, one more episode left, and we'll talk with you about it soon.
Bye.
Bye.